Welcome to the Charity Connector. Hosted by Dominic Fenton and produced by Grow Radio, we give you an insight into the hearts of charities making waves in our world.
Hi everyone, welcome back to the Charity Connector. I'm your host, Dom Fenton, and we have a part two. So the part two is with the Danny Butcher Foundation. How are we, guys?
Good, thank you.
Thank you.
Yes. Thank you for joining. We'll say it's the first time I've had 4 people on the chat, but it's great, and I'm sure we'll smash this one today. So what we'll do, if I just get people to introduce themselves and just tell them how they're involved and why they're involved, and I think that will set the scene really nicely. So, Carrie, over to you.
So I'm Carrie. I'm Danny Butcher's sister. Danny died in 2019 through suicide after he had gone on to a property training company. So our mission now is to raise awareness for people to see the signs of whether what is right and wrong in these training companies.
Right, amazing. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Andrew, reintroduce yourself for me.
Yeah, I'm Andrew Burgess, as you remember me from part one. It's great to be back here again. And yeah, I'm just looking to continue where we left off from and let you know of all the things that we've achieved since. So I look forward to doing that later on in the podcast.
Amazing. Jacko or Jason, however you want to be called.
I'll introduce my actual name. So yeah, I'm Jason Jackson, and I basically fell victim to the same sort of property training thing. Not the same individual, but a similar thing. And whilst sort of dealing with the damage of the aftermath of being involved in the same kind of thing, choose my words carefully, I came across Danny's story essentially, and as a veteran myself, I came across Danny's story. I was searching around to try and figure out. Once I started to realize what it was and that it wasn't all it was supposed to be or marketed as, and came across Danny's story. That gave me something to research to start to understand what this whole thing was about. And luckily, for me, I started to be able to understand it, which gave me some sort of power in the situation that I was in. So I then went on I was dealing with a lot of other stuff at the same time. Decided I'll channel that energy into doing fundraising for the Danny Butcher Foundation, starting off with a 50-mile ultra and then doing a recent half Ironman to raise funds. And I think it was a total of 2,000 now in the end. So yeah, that's
amazing.
Welcome
on board. And Shelley.
I connected with Andrew on a charity site on Facebook. Andrew was looking for help with the charity, and we had a Zoom meeting, and I founded my own charity, and I know how hard it is to get started up and kind of get a mission into place and stuff. So Andrew had then asked me if I'd want to come on board as a trustee, and it's been going ever since then, really, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Amazing. So we've sort of set the scene about sort of who you are and why all of you are involved. So Andrew, just give us a current update in terms of where you are as an organisation at the minute.
Yeah, no, things have been going brilliantly. Obviously, we haven't had a chance to properly put it all together yet, but it's still steps, and we've all got busy lives. And without going into too much detail, you may have heard about Jason in the newspaper. He's been through quite the ordeal that's hit the national news. So we can only do so much. That's the real pain of our struggle, the fact that we've got a real victim of what he believes to be, sales tactics on the foundation to help us. So that's some sort of pain that we have to go through. What we lose in productivity, we gain in experience and heartfelt. Now, what I would say is that on a plus side, though, the banking's looking much better. I've managed to get the money into an interest account, a bulk of it. We've done a lot of working and ironing out. We've got a solicitor on board that we're talking a direction of applying for grants. That is going slowly, but that has to go slowly because we have to do it properly, and it really requires a great level of detail and thought to find our niche on how we can make the difference. I've been in contact with an accountant. It would cost us money, but he's going to teach us how to run the accounts in the background whilst we gain enough growth to have him come on board full time. So that's pure progress. We've been looking at redesigning the mission statement, been taking notes from meetings, and I think we're going to change the layout of the charity, i.e. the registered address, because Mr. Butcher, bless him, he's got married now, and he's kind of taking a step back. He's done enough. So we want to kind of take that level of admin away from him and push it onto Shelley. So congratulations.
Hopefully Shelley knew about that before you've just announced it, and we're
Yeah.
I do hope that she knew that.
We're going to do that. Yeah, then we're going to probably start allocating roles, i.e. accounts, teaming up, because at the minute, one thing we don't have is roles. We have, although we're all trustees, we have panic stations. So to try and actually get some sort of direction to it. But we have made great progress. And Jason, as you're far aware, he's done 2 fundraisers now. The first fundraiser, was it 3, Jason? Is it 3?
No, 2. Yeah, the 50-mile ultra and the
half Ironman. It could have been 3. The amount of money he made. He made thousands. He made over £2,000 for the charity, and that was great dedication. And like I said in the last podcast, as a follow-on, that was precisely what stopped us closing the charity down. So the fact that Jason had breathed life into it and actually kept it going, we thought, well, hang on a minute. So we've still got a long way to go, but we've come a long way since the last meeting. And the main thing is we are keeping Danny's name alive. So the fact it's still there, it's still on the internet, and it's still gaining money. We're just preparing for that.
Yeah, okay. So, Carrie, how do you feel at the moment in terms of where you're at and sort of where you're going to be going to?
I think it's a slow progress, but we understood that anyway. But I like to have it where we at least can raise the awareness as the priority. Other than that, is if we can help people to progress themselves or improve their mental health. I mean, Jason's done an absolute amazing work, and he, like Andrew said, he's sparked the foundation back off again. So I'm really grateful for that. And with Shelley's experience, I think we have got a really strong team now. So hopefully we can progress bigger and wider and help people that are in or feeling hopeless, because there is nowhere for anybody to go in these situations. So hopefully with Jason's story, Danny's story, and other people might come forward. We've got other people coming forward, but they don't want to go public. And that's because they're scared. They're scared that they'll end up in Andrew's situation.
Yeah.
And that's a massive mental health issue in itself.
Yeah.
As far as I'm concerned. So if we can help them, then Danny's not died in vain.
Yeah.
So Jason sparking the foundation off again is not in vain. So if we can help anybody, then I'm happy.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. Come over to you, Jason. So how, obviously, when you saw the foundation, and you heard the story, and actually you were like, actually, this is quite similar. This is similar to my story and everything else.
Yeah.
Know that you've actually almost helped kickstart things again. How did that make you feel?
Well, I'm absolutely honored, but I didn't realize that at the time. I was doing something, as I said, to channel all the energy that I had of a situation that I had to deal with, that I was largely not in control of for the most part. And part of that was being duped, one of a better word, by the training and everything else, and coming to that realization of everything. I needed to, in my head, I needed to put that energy somewhere, and that was doing something physical. But obviously, the story, like Danny's story and all the different articles, that was what led me down the path of being able to research and understand everything. So I just picked that. I wouldn't have done it for any other charity and that at that time. So I picked that, done the first one, the 50-mile ultra, and yeah, I was just going ahead, cracking on, doing the ultra, doing some posts, social media posts, and it wasn't till like, it was about last week or so, wasn't it? I think you guys were seeing my posts anyway, if I'm correct. And it was last week or so that the money started to come in quite a bit. I think it got close to the £1,000 mark at that point. And then
you did amazingly, but you could have done a lot better. And I don't mean that you should have done a lot better. To put it precise, Jason was fighting for his financial life during that week. So he didn't have the energy, because this guy's lost like multiples of six figures, right? The sort of money that people just like, that ridiculous amounts of money with his families. And not only that, he had the system chasing him, the system, because of this. So the system, he was fighting the system, which left him no energy to advertise what he was doing. But the fact he even got round to making the page, and then coming back from fighting the system to ending up with more bills just to save his financial life, you have to pay more money. It's a bizarre scenario, because sometimes at networking events you meet people when these people know people that are selling a great deal, and you get sucked into further deals on occasion. So he was battling all absolute financial ruin to get himself on an even keel, which is 100% what the charity is about in terms of raising awareness for this sort of thing. He was fighting the very cause that meant the charity came to life. And fortunately, he was lucky enough to win the war. Again, a veteran. But the fact he even raised that money after he had kind of like almost, I think he had a sherry or something. He finished up the week. He's like, I'm having a sherry. I've done it. And the progress was, he got to keep some element of normality in his life. And that was a celebrational whiskey, as he said. And then it was straight back into action. And the money just poured in. And I'm just thinking, if he can do that with that on his mind, now he's over that, he can probably move planets going forward. It's a great sort of charitable asset, because arguably, although what I went through was like a boomerang, keep hitting me back, they were fighting for nothing, but he had something, he had lost something, and it was like the magnitude was everything all in one. So to come through that and come out fighting was a true show of strength to Jason's personality.
And I think as well, so obviously with that, as you said, Jason, actually it was trying to focus on something. You put all your energy, because we deal a lot with, I'm heavily involved with men's mental health and stuff like that, so we hear these sort of, not necessarily this story, but we hear a lot of stories around having to channel channel our energy and look at what we're doing. So obviously you came into that final week, you did your event, got through that. Was it then just that crossing that line, you're like, right, actually I'm going to keep on doing this? Because again, it gives you that energy, does that?
Well, I'd already had the second one booked anyway, but knowing that I would do it for the Danny Butcher Foundation again. So kind of like when I was training for the 50-mile ultra, and a couple months later, it was the 50-mile ultra I did in June, and the half Ironman I done in September, just gone. So a couple months later, I did that, and then I'm going to just continue doing it, because I mean, obviously, it sets an example, I guess, for anyone going through similar, that you can channel that energy into something that in the end you'll be okay. Basically, as easier said than done. And if I was going through all that and I wasn't able to come across Danny's story and understand what it was all about, and figure out how that gave me power and how I navigated and got out of the situation I was in, I might have gone down a different path, being perfectly honest. But I think it sets an example of how you can get through it.
And I also think actually what being able to sit on here and talk about it is so important,
Yeah,
because actually it is about sharing stories, and obviously what Carrie said, wants to keep the name of Danny Butcher going and alive and out there, so actually other people can hear the story and go, or people are in a similar situation, we go, actually, that this is what's happened and this is how we're working it. And
Yeah.
it is awareness, and it is being able to go, look, because I think from a mental health point of view, I think that when we're going through things, a lot of the time we think we're the only ones going through it.
Yeah.
We feel
Yeah.
isolated, we feel on our own, we feel that no one will understand. I've been there, so I get
Yeah.
that. Not in this situation, but I've been there. So, and that's why it's important for me to do this podcast, because actually it is all linked to around mental health and suicide, and being able to talk and knowing that actually you can get through things,
Yeah.
but you need to be able to talk, and you need to be in a position where you can talk. And I think
Yeah.
it's so important. And I think hats off to all of you on here. It's so important.
Yeah. And these scenarios as well, like shame is obviously a massive factor. When you realize what it has been going on, you've financially lost a lot. It's easy to just quietly move on and not talk about it. But it's similar to mental health. I think in 2021 I had a bit of a mental breakdown. I went through the same, quietly try and deal with it. You come out the other end of it, and then you talk about it and you realize that actually quite a lot of people deal with these kind of things. And that sort of opens your mind up to, actually, like, it's not something that you alone have got to deal with, and you're not weird for going through a bit of a mental breakdown or any mental health stuff. And I guess similar, we're talking about this stuff, like being a victim of any kind of financial duping. And once you talk about it, you realize there's lots of other people who have gone through this kind of thing. There's people that can help you. I mean, there's multiple other victims now from the
there's
network I was in.
doctors that fall for it, doctors,
Yeah.
scientists, and until you've cracked open the can like I did, what I did was, rather than going for something, I decided to network. That's what everything's about, networking. So if I'm stood in a McDonald's and everyone's buying a burger, I want to find out whether the burger's good. I get their WhatsApps. And sorry to use McDonald's. That's just how scared I am.
There are
Yeah.
restaurants.
But McDonald's with burger was good, though. It's a compliment. But I'm using McDonald's and not another topic because I don't want anyone coming after me. So I'm going to relate it to burgers when we're not talking burgers. So everyone in the McDonald's enjoys the burger, and I've got them in a WhatsApp group, and they're all saying that they're enjoying the burger. Now, in this hypothetical instant, this really happened. It wasn't McDonald's. But I went to the source of the product. I stored details and numbers, and all I saw was despair. I didn't see, oh, that's brilliant. Because I'll tell you what, if I'd seen a few people doing it, it's brilliant. I'll be going over to their houses. I even managed to acquire the ingredients, because if I want to find out what Jason's having, all I have to do is ask him. He's got all the manuals at home of whatever he would have gone for. Other people have got all the manuals. So I saw this and I was just like, there's no way in hell, in my opinion, I thought. Unless you crack open the tin, you don't know. And then people leave feeling stupid. Like, oh, I feel so stupid. And I'm thinking, no, it's really convincing. You do have to think outside the box to beat it and understand it.
But we also like to make you feel like you're the one that's stupid. If you can't make it, then you are the one that's failing. You are the one that's stupid. Because then they like to badger you down, so then you can't fight back and ask for your money or question how this is actually working. Because if you don't know how it works, then you're at their Facebook group, you're at their chats, you're at their social networking groups. You're just crap on the floor because they've got your money now, so it doesn't matter anymore. Because unless you can make them more money, then they're not interested.
Yeah,
And
it's
that's
like
what people are not seeing is once they've got your money, they're not interested in whether you can make it work or not.
Yeah.
They've
And even that,
they've got their part.
even that, I mean, the incoming side of it, the marketing and the drawing you in is a set of tactics.
Mm.
Even with someone when they realize what's going on and they start outing that person, that's a set of tactics as well. Like Kerry said, it's like kicking you out of groups straight away. And I mean, on the I probably talk more freely than Andrew, but on the when they're going through the sort of training, some of the tactics they talk about is they straight away start talking about you taking 100% responsibility for all your actions and yada yada yada. When you come out the other end and realize what's going on and ask for a refund, for example, that's straight away the stuff they start coming out with, like you need to take 100% responsibility for your actions, blah 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 blah. It's a set of tactics. They know what they're doing.
when people fail, they always blame the training. You only leave a review for food. You never leave when it's bad. You never leave. I've heard them all, mate. I've heard it all. You want to hear about training? Last week, I was on a first aid course. The other day, my son started choking. I did the back slaps. I saved him. That is training that worked. If humans can learn from training, I don't know. The statistics I saw in general, I'm not putting this at one individual, one company. In general, analysing the whole of the industry, the statistics I saw, the people that failed were the people that didn't have money, in my opinion. And the people that failed that didn't have money were being sold to, in my opinion, by the people that were succeeding and getting their money at the networking over the whole industry, in my opinion. And I believe, in my opinion, that Jason's got a similar story around that, where, you know, you enter into one thing, enter one service, and then within that service, you do some networking, you meet another person within that networking, and suddenly you're investing in something that's absolute rocket science, brilliant, good to go. And before you know it, I believe Jason was managing a building site, a mess that he hadn't got himself into. He'd put all him and his family's money into this project. And although he battled for his life to save it, he still ended up battling for his life to save his financial life.
Yeah.
So he could start at point zero again.
Yeah.
And that's a powerful message. And as a charity, like, we want to, that's what I'm going to say. As a charity, we want to we think we could be an effective signposting service to where we signpost to impartial people that can give professional advice about anything. I've just had a phone call. They say they're my bank and they want me to transfer some money. Well, we'll let you talk to this professional body. You know what I mean? Not just wealth creation, not just training. We want to be a hub of information and resource.
Yeah. Shelley, just coming to yourself. So in terms of, obviously, your involvement now,
Yeah.
what was there a particular thing? Obviously, you met Andrew on a group. Was there anything particular that you thought, actually, this is why I want to get involved? And where do you think that as an organization you can take it?
The main reason that I did get involved, I'll be honest with you, is because my charity is running memory of my niece.
Yeah.
And this is another charity that's running memory of Carrie's brother.
Yeah.
And I'm not familiar with all, I mean, obviously Jason and Andrew have sent me videos and, I've watched things. I'm not familiar with all that side. I'm very passionate about chronic mental and life-limiting illness. That's what we do within the charity that I run.
Yeah.
I'm a qualified therapist. And when I heard the background of the story, that's what actually got me interested in the charity. And then coming on board and taking on the trustees meetings and thinking about different areas that we can work in, because I think we were just set in motion as making donations to other charities. And, what I was kind of saying to everyone was, are we going to offer a service, ourselves? Because, amongst us all, we've all got enough experience to think about offering a service. So that's kind of where we're at the moment. And Andrew, I think it was Andrew who brought the solicitor in. So he's coming on our trustees.
Just to give credit, it was Jason that found
Oh,
him.
right, sorry.
Me that contacted him off the back of. I wouldn't mean to interrupt you, but I don't want to steal Jason's moment there. And I contacted him off the back of Jason's recommendation. But continue as you were.
Right.
Yeah, so we kind of said we could really be, somewhere that we could advise people to go for proper advice. The solicitor's been upfront with us and said, I can't tell people not to do these things, but I can have a chat with them. And he's legal, so people are maybe going to listen a bit better than us. It'll weigh up the odds. And it's just to kind of prevent people from falling into that trap, whether it be the same trap as obviously Jason and Danny, or another trap, because I don't mean to be rude, but there's that many traps out there for you to fall into. We just want to prevent that from happening again.
Yeah, and I think that's it. And I think obviously with your experience of running your own organisation as well, bringing that in to the board and being part of the organisation will always help, because actually it's about surrounding yourself with the right people.
Yeah.
And as I say, from Carrie, Andrew, Jason, and yourself, you've all got different things that you can bring to it.
Yeah.
And where you can actually navigate in terms of where you want to go. So in terms of moving forward, what I want to do is ask you, what we always do on this one is ask, if someone was listening now, one thing you'd like them to do. So Carrie, if a person was listening to this now, what one thing would you like them to do?
Look after their mental health. Look after themselves. Where do they need to go? What do they need to do just to calm their own mind? So I think that'd be probably the main one for me.
Love that. Andrew, one thing, maybe the same as what you said before, one thing you'd like someone to do if they're listening right now.
Well, obviously, I just want to echo all the ones from my previous one, because I'm still greedy with all that. But riding off Carrie's notion of the sort of mental health and the deep message there, I would echo that, but I would add on the end, and get in touch with us, like message us.
Yeah.
So whilst you're going through that, message us, because as a charity, we want to signpost and we want to talk. So if you're going through, if you've watched Carrie's statement and you're thinking, well, I've watched this long, that's me, then hey, find us. We're on Facebook, the Danny Butcher Foundation, and drop us a message, call us. We've got a number online. Send us a WhatsApp or whatever, and let's talk. Let's try and get you out of that spot.
Amazing. Jason?
Yeah, again, just speak out and reach out. Between us, we've pretty much got, if someone calls us up at any point of one of these situations that they're going through, it doesn't matter, like we've got it all covered. They say, I've just been kicked out of a group and everyone's ignoring me or whatever. We know what happens there. We know that tactic. We know they could talk to us at any point in that, whatever situation they're going through, and we'll either know or can figure out what to do, what best to do, or signpost them in to one of the anyone in the network that we've built up.
Yeah. So
yeah, reach out. I mean, even if it's not to us, but obviously that's the service we're trying to provide. Just speak out at least, and don't let shame sort of stop you from speaking out.
Yeah, love that. Shelley?
You just nicked mine, Jason. That's what I was going to say.
Sometimes when you go last, it's hard, isn't it? Because they've all said everything else before.
Reach out and don't ever feel ashamed of anything.
Be kind to yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think having obviously met Andrew online previously in the first podcast, having met yourselves tonight, one thing I'll say is that actually I'm proud of all of you.
Thanks.
Yes.
You're all doing an amazing thing. Keep on going. And obviously any support you need from myself and my team, whether it's getting more information out there, whatever else, please let me know. To anyone listening, it's really important that you don't feel alone. It's really important you don't feel isolated. We all have times when we're struggling. and we all have times when we feel that actually we can't carry on. And I say this after a lot of other things that I'm involved with, that actually the world is a better place with you in it. So if you are listening to this and you're struggling, reach out. Reach out to these guys, because these guys are amazing, and I'd have them back again. So Andrew, you're probably now thinking about part 3. And we'll do that. But honestly, if you are listening to this, please reach out. There is help out there. Reach out to these guys, because these are great. But we'll leave it there tonight. Thank you very much for your time. Carrie, thank you. Jason, thank you. Shelley, thank you. Andrew, thank you.
Cheers, Dominic. Thanks for having us on.
Very much.
Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. I'm your host, Don Fenton. This is just the Charity Connector, and I'll see you again soon. Take care now.